Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Last Word. My name is Fletcher. I will be your host tonight, and what we're talking about tonight is obviously going to be Super Bowl 54 and my analysis of that game. And as a Niner fan, yes, it was painful, but I'm not going to be getting biased or say we got robbed or anything. No. The Niners lost that game. The Chiefs had an incredible comeback. It is what it is. There's always next year. Anyways, we're going to jump right into why I think the game ended up the way it did. And for me personally, I think the Niners uh, have the better roster, the more complete roster, and I don't think very many people will argue that, but some might. But here's the reason they lost. They got complacent. And I'm not saying everybody on the Niners got complacent, but I'm saying there were key members of that defense who didn't try maybe as hard as they could have towards the end. They saw that 10-point lead with less than 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and started to maybe take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, which ended up costing them the game. I'm talking about players like Quan Alexander, did not look like his best self, Jaquiski Tart, even Richard Sherman at times out there. And I know he's all gas, no brakes, but there were a couple plays where he just looked absent-minded. He looked like he had other stuff on his mind, which is a real shame because I think if the Niners keep that foot on the gas pedal like Nick Bosa had on that whole time. Nick Bosa was doing everything in his power to win. Obviously, it wasn't enough because it's not a one-man show. It's a whole team. There's 11 players on that field at a time for each team. And if not all of them are doing their job, especially in a game like the Super Bowl, you're going to lose. Bad things are going to happen. Overall, the Niners defense, aside from that fourth quarter, was fantastic all night. Aside from those final about 8 minutes in the game, the Niners defense, they looked like the Niners defense from all year. They held the Chiefs to 10 points through 3 quarters, and they simply collapsed. Partially it was due to Robert Saleh's play calling, and as I previously mentioned, players did not go 100% for 100% of the time during the game. But moving on from that, I don't want to take anything away from the Chiefs' offense. As soon as Patrick Mahomes threw that second pick, got it out of his system, he was money. He was absolute money. We're going to go over their their scoring drives uh, from the third and fourth quarter. 1 second, I just got to get there. So, in the fourth quarter, they had a 10-play, 83-yard drive that ended with 6:13 left to go. Where that ended in the Travis Kelce 1-yard pass. Now, this seems like 10 plays, 83 yards. You would think it was a long, methodical drive, but we gotta remember it was the Chiefs. They did this lightning quick. It was 2 minutes and 40 seconds. They made the Niners defense look like the Bengals because they'd got complacent, like I said. The next drive, 7 plays, 65 yards, 226. This Chiefs offense scores like lightning. It's just unstoppable once it gets into that groove. And it got to the point, the Damian Williams 5-yard pass. It was a touchdown. I'm not gonna say it wasn't a touchdown. It was a great play call, and Andy Reid really came alive with his play calling in the fourth quarter when it really got into crunch time. He really showed why he's considered one of the best offensive minds in football and has been considered one of the best offensive minds in football for well over 20 years at this point. Anyways, now we're going to go to what went wrong for the 49ers and why they lost. And specifically with their offense. Jimmy Garoppolo, not efficient. and at the moment just seemed like it proved to be too big for him. He had a few nice drives, we were stringing along good passes. He had the one nice throw to Kyle Juszczyk, a couple good dimes to Kendrick Bourne and George Kittle, but other than that, he was subpar. He seemed to be missing targets. He threw the one terrible interception while being hit. He should have just tried to lob that out of bounds. I know maybe it was hard because while he was being hit, but an NFL quarterback, especially the stature of Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not saying he's amazing, but he's definitely above average, should have the arm to be able to get that ball out of bounds. And then the second pick, it's, you know, not necessarily his fault. There's a minute left to go. He's down 2 scores. He's just got to throw it up and hope for something. And it's just brought down for the game sealing interception. That's how it goes. The run game for most of the night, even though on paper it looked good, it was really just a few bigger runs, like the 32-yard run from Deebo Samuel that was really good, and a couple of runs by Raheem Mostert for over 10 yards. But overall, aside from those run plays, it was held in check pretty well. Raheem Mostert only ended up with 58 yards. He had 220 in the NFC Championship game against the Packers. So the Chiefs did a great job of keeping the Niners' run game in check, which in turn made them have to rely more so on the arm of Jimmy Garoppolo, which is exactly what the Chiefs wanted, and Jimmy couldn't get it done, unfortunately, which he had proven in the past to be able to do, but as I said, the moment seemed to be too big for him, and he wasn't able to perform when he was needed. Anyways, I would like to get on to who my personal MVP of the game is. And that was, I know a lot of you guys may disagree with it, but it was Tyreek Hill for me. Tyreek Hill, he may not have gotten a score, but you look at his stats, he had 9 receptions, 105 yards. He bailed the Chiefs out in a couple of really bad situations. Yeah, he had the one drop on the play that was reviewed by the Niners and overturned, but the very next play, 44 yards downfield, he finds himself wide open with a beautiful route ran by himself that really set up the Chiefs in that first scoring drive. And that, without that play, who knows if the Niners are able to are able to, close out the game and win, because it was on 3rd and 15. If they stop them there, the Chiefs have to punt. They can't go for it on 4th and 15. I believe it was in their own territory too. They can't go for it. They have to punt and hope they get a stop. So they punt the way the Niners have been rolling before there was a bunch of pressure mounted on them. It was rolling well. The run game had finally started to get going, even though it just bashed on it a little bit. The run game had just started to flow well enough to where it opened up the play action even more for Jimmy Garoppolo and could make him more comfortable. So, because of how Tyreek Hill performed in the clutch and overall in the game, he did a great job of catching the ball and making people miss and getting extra yards when, the vast majority of people in the NFL couldn't get those extra yards. I mean, maybe there's like the Saquons and I don't know, probably like George Kittle because of his brute strength that would have gotten those extra yards. But he is so quick, so elusive, and he was so clutch this game that to me, he's the Super Bowl MVP. Without Tyreek Hill, the Chiefs lose this game, and that's my facts. That's what reality is to me. If you stick Tyreek Hill and replace him with Mecole Hardman at that position, they're similar wide receivers, but Tyreek Hill's been doing it longer and he's just better. Nobody's going to say Mecole's better than Tyreek. Tyreek Hill, my Super Bowl MVP. Hats off to the Chiefs. Incredible year for both teams. I can't wait to see what both of them can do next year. I believe they're only going to get better, honestly. I think the Chiefs have finally found a great way of using Damian Williams and making him a real running back one in the NFL, and obviously Patrick Mahomes is astounding. He looked off at times tonight, but when it mattered most, he has that clutch gene, and he really showed it off tonight. And he was a big reason the Chiefs were able to propel themselves over the finish line when the Niners were faltering. So, anyways, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And this has been the last word. Thank you.